So just to make sure I'm understanding, you were worried that something might be wrong with you because you actively seek out movies that cause you significant distress.
Correct.
Well, I think there might be a few reasons why you would do this. Exposure to a lot of intense things can desensitize you or decrease your own emotional reactivity to things. It's almost like you're seeking more stimulation, but in a controlled environment.
Makes sense. So I'm not weird?
Oh no, I didn't say that. It's fairly abnormal at this intensity and frequency. And I do have to ask, since this is causing you so much distress, do you have any desire to change this behavior?
Oh, no. So can I tell you what happens to these babies in these movies?
Sure.
So you have your own therapist, right?
Yeah.
Cool. So what happened was...
I'm Micah. I'm a licensed therapist, and here we like to talk about horror and mental health. These are the two most stressful movies I've seen in years. And I know I already warned you, but let me be clear. Babies die in these stories in like terrible ways. So if you're brave and or possibly get a kick out of traumatizing yourself, welcome to the club. I watched these movies and I spent the remainder of my day reeling and questioning my decision-making skills. Both of these movies are overwhelming and overstimulating. And if you have any little babies, this is your third opportunity to skip this one.
What happened? He won't listen!
First, Mother. When I first watched this one, it was the most stressful movie I had seen. But since then, the second movie we're going to talk about has given it a run for its money. I think that this one is a little more symbolic, whereas the coffee table is pretty straightforward. So Mother actually begins with a couple living in an older house. So these characters don't actually have names. It's like Mother and him. Something like that. So Dad, or Guy, or him, is a poet who is struggling with writer's block. He considers his wife, aka Mother, to be his muse. She's been working really hard to renovate this house they're living in. But one day, a man shows up. He's claiming to be an orthopedic surgeon and asks for a room for the night. So there's some weird stuff that happens. I guess they were like drinking and she hears him dry heaving or something. The next day, man who claims to be an orthopedic surgeon's wife shows up. Mom here is like, come on, get out. They beg her to let him stay because it turns out he is actually a dying man who's just a really big fan of the poet. And it was his dying wish to meet him. Okay. He has this study, and there's this like gemstone diamond thing that's hanging out there, and the man and woman just take it upon themselves to go in there and handle it and end up dropping it and breaking it, which really upsets the poet, and he ends up boarding up his study completely. But then the man and woman's sons arrive unexpectedly, and they start fighting over the man's will.
No, Mom, Dad's dying and all he cares about is his damn money.
Boys, stop it!
Look at Dad, look at Dad.
Stop! Stop it!
In a stranger's house. One of the sons attacks the other son and flees. Poet, man's wife all take the injured son to the hospital, leaving Mom behind, where she's cleaning up some damage to the house. Poet comes back and the kid died. There's a couple of weird little things where the brother who caused the harm shows up back in the house or something. I don't know. The whole time I was just like, what the fuck is going on? Like, why is this happening? Like, why is there some stranger staying in your house? Why are you letting him stay? What? A bunch of people show up to mourn the brother who died in a stranger's house. And the poet guy's just like, yeah, sure, come on in. And Mom's just like, what? Are you serious? Well, they become very rude and end up causing a lot of trouble. They end up breaking a sink that she was begging them not to sit on, which floods the house.
Hey,
There's nothing wrong
it's
with it.
really okay. No, stop doing that. Don't do that. Stop. Stop doing that. Stop.
And this scene was so stressful. Like, I was just like, oh my God, I want to yell at all of those people to get out of your house too. She gets mad, yells at Poet. They end up making up, and she ends up pregnant. Because she's pregnant, he is inspired and decides to start writing poetry again. So the writer's block has lifted. So some time passes, she's preparing for the arrival of the baby. And he has written this new beautiful poem, which actually gets really popular. So to celebrate, they're preparing to have this dinner. But a whole lot of fans show up at their house to interrupt. Like, a lot. what the hell are you doing? So this is where things go really chaotic, because there was a period of calm. There was a little bit of peacefulness there between the incident with the sink and the family being there and some guy dying in your house. There was some peace there, right? And then this happens. And the droves of fans just force their way inside their house. And, you know, she's trying to stop them, but there is no stopping that many people, and they are destroying everything.
Hey! Oh, this is nicely done.
Stop!
It's just pure chaos. It's just like a straight up never-ending riot from this point forward. It gets so bad that the military comes in to intervene. Then there's like a cult or something. Poet dude is not really upset about all of this. He's like, heck yeah, let all these people in here. They love me. I'm awesome. Then there's some mass executions. Like, the chaos doesn't stop. It's like a whole civilization and war is developing in their house. And mom goes into labor around all of these people. She goes into the study where she has the baby. She can have the baby in peace. And the havoc outside of this room starts to subside, and all of the fans have brought gifts for the baby. So Poet Guy is like, oh, let me show everybody the baby. And she's like, no. So instead, he waits until she's asleep and steals their newborn baby from her and goes to show him to the crowd and just hands him off. So this is the scene where the baby doesn't make it. The baby's crowd surfing for a second, and then it's not anymore. They tear the baby apart, and some of them eat the pieces. So mom is like, of course, beside her. So she just had this baby. She goes out there furious and attacks them and gets the shit beat out of her until Mr. Poet Guy intervenes and stops them. He has the audacity to beg her to forgive them. No. She does what anyone in their right mind in this situation would do, and she decides, I'm burning it all down. Creates an explosion near this oil tank leak and incinerates the crowd, destroys the house, but somehow Mr. Poet is unscathed. Mother's severely burned. They have this little exchange there. He ends up reaching into her heart and pulling out a new crystal object. So that tells us that the old crystal object may have come from the woman before that he probably did something really similar to, and that this gem or stone is what he has left of her. And that's why it was so important to him. So he places it on a pedestal, and the home transforms back into a home. And but then we start over, and there's a brand new mom or mother in the bed. Like, what? So I read several things about the meaning behind this movie. I've heard that it can be symbolic for like Mother Nature and the way that we treat the earth, and I guess the earth just like self-imploding. It's like I don't know. I'm sure that's what it was. But when I saw this movie, what I was thinking about was the cycle of abuse, and I was thinking about emotional abuse, and I was thinking about this guy having some real strong narcissistic traits, and that the people who admire him are more important to him than his wife. His wife is only important to him as long as she can serve him. But then when everything blows up, as it has before, he just sits and cherishes what is left of her and starts again with someone new. I mean, I feel like there are a lot of relationship dynamics that go like that, you know, without the hordes of people destroying things and killing babies and craziness. Again, very symbolic. And something else I wanted to point out is there's this chaotic beginning, and then there's like this lull and this peace for a little while, and then shit hits the fan. And that is very similar to the way that the cycle of abuse may operate. There's going to be like a honeymoon period. So what happens is there's an episode of some kind, whatever it may be. And then the person is like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'll never do it again. And then things are awesome for a while, right? You're like, yes, this is what I wanted. And then all of a sudden it falls apart again, and it gets worse every single time. And unfortunately, Mother had to suffer the consequences of being in a relationship with this turd. Again, I know there's probably a deeper symbolic meaning there, but my therapist brain, that's what I came up with. And like I said, this movie is very stressful. You just really shouldn't watch it if you're having a bad day. You may not want to watch it at all, but now you're informed. You can make a fully informed decision about that. On to The Coffee Table, another movie where a baby dies. I'm anti-babies dying in horrific ways, so don't think that I'm just like fuck yeah, these movies are awesome. They evoke such strong emotion, which is really powerful. It's really not probably good for your nervous system to stay in the state that these movies put me in. So the coffee table begins with this couple. They're in their 40s, they just had a new baby. And the scene opens up with them talking to a salesman about a coffee table that the husband really wants, that is like really gaudy and crappy. He ends up talking his wife into it. She's kind of like picking at him, they're bickering, whatever. It seems like normal discourse when a couple may be under stress. So they get home, dude starts putting it together, and wife's like, I'm out, I gotta go to the store because your brother's coming over later and I gotta make dinner. You watch the baby. Leaves the baby on the couch in its little car seat. So he's trying to put this together and learns that there's a screw missing. So he calls the place and it's like, you gotta give me this screw, I can't put this together. So the coffee table, like it's like a sheet of glass on top of these statues. And because he can't put it up there, he has to just kind of sit the glass vertical and lean it against something while he waits for the person to arrive with the screw. Baby starts crying. As a dad should, he goes over, picks up the baby, and is kind of walking around with the baby. And the camera starts to kind of pan back down the hallway towards maybe like the front door area. He's trying to calm the baby down. He's talking to the baby and everything. And then all of a sudden, you hear a horrible crashing sound. An abrupt silence of the crying. To be as troubling and upsetting as this movie is, you don't really see a lot. It's one of the few movies I think that what you don't see is actually a whole lot scarier. Like, they mastered this. We get to see the horrific aftermath of what happened. Dad fell. Baby fell on the glass, the vertical glass, and lost its head. Yeah. So he's sitting there down on his knees. There's some blood. It's not like over the top, and he's holding the baby. And again, you don't see a whole lot. You just know what happened. And you can see that there's a little trail where the baby's head rolled under a nearby chair. There's a lot of tension. He's not about to go over there. You can tell the dude is like, oh my God. I just can't even imagine how a parent would feel in that moment. And so I really didn't want to judge him and his actions. He made it not very easy, but at the same time I was like, well, I've never dropped my baby and been the reason why I was decapitated. So how am I supposed to know how someone's supposed to act? There's some communication from his wife by phone. He's a little weird. Everybody notices that he's a little weird. So his wife calls. He tells her everything's fine. Clearly in shock, doesn't know what to do. Taking the baby's body and kind of taking care of it, like changes it and puts it in the crib and just leaves it and starts trying to clean up. Oh, side topic. This person becomes relevant for some reason, but there's this little girl who's like got a crush on him and is threatening to tell his wife that they've kissed when I don't think that they had. She's just an extra annoyance in my opinion. There was other ways that they could have gone about this, but whatever. So anyway, he has several interactions with people. The guy who brings the screw, who wants to be his best friend awkwardly, and he's just like, what the hell, leave. He is very clearly unwell. You know, he's pale, he's sweating, you could tell he's just not okay. He never gets to the point where he's like, damn, I should call somebody. And that is where you make a mistake. Of course, again, trying not to judge. I have no idea what I would do in this situation, but it's just a hole that just keeps getting deeper and deeper and deeper. And I think that is why this is considered a black comedy. You heard me correctly. This is considered horror and black comedy. We'll talk a little bit about that. So at this point, I'm like, there's a dead baby in the crib. Husband's trying to clean up. Wife's coming home. How much longer can he keep this quiet? Well, a long time. He lies and says the blood on the floor is from cutting his hand, that he broke the coffee table. His wife thinks this is hilarious because she hates the coffee table, and she continuously laughs at him over the coffee table being broken, which is real awkward when you know what happened. He tells her the baby's asleep. He finally got him to sleep. Let's leave him alone. He's all right. So yeah, it's tedious and long, and eventually his brother shows up, and his brother's got a girlfriend who's pregnant. That's another thing. He's having some hallucinations based on his guilt and his distress. Everybody knows something is wrong with him. Clearly, you feel like you are going to explode watching this. Like, the suspense is, wow. It's ridiculously stressful. And I guess that pushes you over into a comedy realm. Kind of like a dead baby joke. I don't know. Y'all remember those? So one way that I felt like I could find humor in this scenario is to think about a concept that is much more benign. So my name's Micah, but it's spelled kind of funny. So sometimes people call me Mika, and sometimes I just don't care to correct them. I just let them do it. I'm like, whatever. But then it gets awkward. And later on, they're still calling me Mika. And maybe they're around somebody else who calls me Micah. And then everybody gets confused. And then I have to explain, yeah, no, I didn't correct you, whatever. And it gets awkward. And I just make the whole situation worse for myself because I waited way too long to correct it. Again, very different example. But I wonder if there's some humor in accidentally letting something go for so long that it's like, what do I even do now? Like, it's too late. Brother knows something's wrong. Brother ends up getting the information about the baby and learning about it. And they're like, oh, we got to tell her. And he's like, no, I'm going to kill myself. The scene ends with the little girl who said she was going to knock on the door and tell the husband's wife that they kissed when they didn't. She knocks on the door and she has a dog with her, and the dog comes in and it's really chaotic, and they're trying to figure out, like, brother's trying to tell him he's over there crying somewhere, little girl's knocking at the door and like lying, and then a dog's in the house, and it's like being a dog, and it's just a whole thing. Well, they're trying to tell her, and so the dog finds the baby's head, and then it's just bad. It's just real bad. I mean, the anguish, the sadness, bad. Appears to end by the mother and the father throwing themselves off their balcony. Everybody's traumatized. That's still alive. Everybody's like, I don't even know what happened. Police are kind of like, I don't know what happened. And the movie closes out with a shot of the couple and the baby, presumably as ghosts, just kind of chilling together, happy. It's the most disturbing movie with some kind of almost happy ending. I don't know, man. This one was different. They do a wonderful job at representing emotional anguish in this one. It's a lot. So yeah, I wouldn't recommend you watch it. The two movies here combined both have to do with a baby dying based on the decision that the father made. One is an accident. One is just this guy sucks. Yeah. So these movies are really stressful. So if you feel like getting your nervous system all worked up and overwhelmed, here's a way to do it. I don't recommend it.